For next steps, you're going to be working on the cover of your comic book, and your starting point is going to be to open up a new document, just like you see here. And I want you to think about composition. And if you remember, composition is the arrangement of all the elements. So if you think about each part of your composition being on a separate layer, it's going to be easier. So my first layer here, you can see I put 2 arched lines. This is actually going to be for the name of the comic book. And I'm going to just write in here for now, hero. So you can see this is where you're going to put the name of your superhero. And you all know how to do block lettering now. And if you forget how to do that, you can go back and look at my YouTube video and you can see how to turn these skeleton letters into 3-dimensional letters. And I'm going to do that very quickly now to show you how I do that. So I have a new layer over the word hero, and I'm going to zoom in on each one, and I'm going to add a little bit of weight to each side of the skeleton of the letter, blocking it off. So there's the H. So if I turn off that layer, you can see it. My skeleton underneath, I'm going to turn it back on. I can see that I missed the bottom of the E here, so I'm going to go back in and the R. Okay, so you go. So that is the top of the magazine page, and then as some of you noticed when you did your observations of existing comic strips, you noticed that there was actually a 3D letter happening. So if I go in here and I'm just going to make this a little bit darker just so you can see it, and I'm going to go in on a new layer and I'm going to add the 3D. So I'm going to make believe that the vanishing point is somewhere over here, and if you remember, if you drew all of the lines to the vanishing point, that's where it would be. I'm going to connect them all that way. Also notice that I'm using my predictive stroke, which is straightening out my lines. And I'm just going to keep going on my perspective. Okay, so now you can notice that I put all of my lines right over the word hero. If I bring this, I'm going to turn that off. If I bring my hero layer now above, turn it back on, I'm going to have a better chance of seeing what's happening. So I'm going to go back into hero, and now I'm going to paint inside those letters. I'm going to go back in on that layer and I'm going to lower the opacity so I can see the difference between what I'm drawing and the guides. Okay, so what I recommend you do is go back to that tutorial and really look at how to add color and the lines and everything. Okay, so I'm doing this quickly. You're going to do all your letters and fill them in until you have your 3D letters, and that'll be your headline. And once that's done, you'll turn off your guides and you'll have your 3D letters. Next step is to place your superhero in, and this is just going to be a template for you. am going to move this layer up top. I want you to think about adding your superhero in front of your letters. It's going to, overlapping is going to create a more dynamic look. So if you have a full figure, think about your head being here and your body being as large as possible in here. If you don't need to see this part of the bottom of your figure here, like if this isn't important, then make it bigger. You know, think about like if the main part is about like your brain thing happening and you have your hands to your head, think about that filling the page like this, as opposed to seeing your whole figure, because that's not important. So think about composition, think about cropping. Notice that this figure is cutting off at this side, the bottom, and the left side, and it can go over your type. And then also think about adding a background color to your entire composition. And if you remember, we want to think about what color theory you're using, what color scheme. So if that's red and I want it to have a feeling of complementary colors, that's going to be red and green. And be careful. And there, so that filled it up. And of course your figure will be solid and over the whole thing. This is a template for you to look at. So think about the top of your layout having the name of your hero, and then you have your figure is the largest, is the focal point, just like you had identified when you analyzed the examples of covers. And then on the bottom, if you wanted to, you could add some text. And, you know, if it was, you know, Superman, you know, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Whatever your superhero special powers, you can put that in there. And then we're going to change the size of it. And you can put it right across your figure.